1,000 years ago, the North Atlantic didn't forgive mistakes, yet the Vikings sailed straight into its deadliest storms.
With nothing but wood, courage, and forgotten knowledge, they crossed the world's most dangerous ocean and reached a new continent.
Imagine standing on the deck of a wooden ship in the middle of the North Atlantic 1,000 years ago.
Pitch-black darkness surrounds you as 4-story-high waves smash violently against the thin wooden hull.
The roar of the gale is deafening, masking the terrified screams of the men standing right beside you.
Freezing water floods your boots, while the icy wind turns your skin raw and numb within seconds.
Below you lies a dark, endless abyss. Between you and certain death are just a few oak planks. For any other civilization, this was a death sentence. But for the Vikings, this was just daily life. Long before modern maps or compasses existed, these fearless Norsemen ruled the world's most dangerous ocean. They crossed the freezing Norwegian Sea, navigated the Atlantic, and reached Iceland, Greenland, and North America.
How did these open wooden boats survive monstrous storms without snapping in half on the open sea?
Today, we uncover the shocking engineering secrets and human endurance that conquered the North Atlantic. The North Atlantic Ocean is universally known as one of the most treacherous marine environments on Earth.
Calm winds can transform into violent Arctic hurricanes in a matter of mere minutes.
When a storm hit, the sailors were immediately exposed to seawater near freezing temperatures. The giant wool sail would absorb water instantly, adding thousands of pounds of dead weight. Under the extreme tension of the gale, the tall wooden mast threatened to snap like a toothpick. Norse sailors had to climb the swaying mast to tie down the sail during chaotic pitching waves. A single slip meant falling into the freezing black abyss, where hypothermia killed in minutes. There were no cabins or roofs on these ships. Every sailor endured the storm completely exposed. Hypothermia was an ever-present killer, draining energy from muscles and clouding human judgment. Salt water soaked into their leather clothing, causing painful sores that burned with every movement. Raging winds created ocean swells towering over 40 feet high, tossing the ship like an autumn leaf.
If the boat turned sideways to a wave, it would instantly capsize and sink into the ocean.
It required incredible physical strength to keep the rudder aligned straight against the crushing water. After a grueling minute, they fought not for glory or treasure, but for simple survival. Yet, despite all the ocean's fury, these vessels rarely shattered. The secret was in their design.
Traditional rigid Mediterranean ships were built strong and stiff, making them prone to snapping under waves.
Viking shipbuilders took an entirely different approach. They designed their ships to bend, not break.
Known as clinker construction, overlapping oak planks were fastened using hand-hammered iron rivets.
Green oak timber was split along its natural grain, preserving the wood's inherent strength and elasticity. This allowed the hull planks to remain thin, lightweight, and incredibly flexible on open waters. When a massive ocean wave struck the vessel, the entire ship twisted like a living creature. Rather than fighting against the ocean's raw energy, the ship absorbed the force and rode over it. To make the overlapping planks watertight, shipbuilders created a special tar-based waterproofing compound. Animal hair and wool were soaked in pine pitch tar and stuffed tightly between every single seam.
This created a flexible, waterproof seal that expanded when wet, keeping seawater effectively outside.
The shallow draft of the ship allowed it to sail over deep ocean waves and shallow rivers alike. Even the keels were specially carved from single giant oak trees for maximum structural integrity. This revolutionary design made Viking ships the absolute supreme machines of maritime transportation. However, even the most perfect ship required master navigators to survive the featureless wilderness of water. In an era before magnetic compasses, finding your way through pitch-black fog was nearly impossible. During long Atlantic storms, heavy overcast clouds completely obscured the sun, moon, and stars.
Without celestial markers, traditional sailors would spin blindly in circles and perish at sea.
To overcome this, Norse navigators utilized a legendary crystal known as the Icelandic spar, or sunstone. This unique mineral polarizes light, revealing the exact location of the sun, even behind dense clouds. By rotating the crystal until both light double refractions matched, they pinpointed true north effortlessly. Norse navigators also possessed an extraordinary ability to read the natural signs of the open environment. They analyzed subtle changes in water color, temperature, and seafloor depth using lead weights. Caged ravens were carried on board and released when sailors suspected land was nearby. If the bird flew straight ahead, land was near. If it returned to the ship, they were still far out.
They tracked whale migration paths and observed the flight patterns of seabirds returning to nest.
Even the smell of distant pine forests carried on sea winds signaled safety over the horizon. Yet, all the navigation skill in the world could not stop water from pouring over the deck.
At the height of a hurricane, the ship's open floor would fill rapidly with thousands of gallons of water.
If the weight of seawater inside exceeded displacement capacity, the vessel would sink like stone. This triggered an agonizing human endurance test. Relentless, non-stop manual water bailing. Equipped with simple wooden buckets, men bailed water continuously for 12 straight hours. There were no rest shifts. Stopping for even a few minutes meant filling the hull with fatal weight. Hour after hour in the freezing sea, their hands became swollen, cracked, and painfully worn from endless labor. Yet nobody quit. In the middle of the Atlantic, survival was a collective team effort. At the stern, the helmsman faced an equally brutal physical challenge, holding the steering oar. He had to feel the rhythm of coming waves through his feet and adjust course before impact. One wrong maneuver would allow a wave to hit sideways, snapping the rudder and leaving them helpless. They prayed to Ran, goddess of the sea, and Thor, god of thunder, to spare their lives. Through sheer willpower, iron discipline, and engineering genius, they kept the ship afloat. As night turned to dawn, the ferocious winds finally began to lose their deadly strength. The roaring hurricane subsided into a gentle ocean breeze as morning sunlight pierced the clouds. Battered, exhausted, but alive, the Norse crew stood victorious upon the calm ocean floor. Their flexible oak ship had once again defied certain destruction on the edge of the world. Very storm survivors went on to discover the green fields of Iceland and volcanic fjords. They pushed further west, establishing settlements in Greenland and reaching the shores of North America.
5 centuries before Christopher Columbus set sail, Vikings had already conquered the Atlantic.
The North Atlantic was not a barrier to them. It was their highway to immortality. Over 1,000 years later, their legendary ships stand quiet inside modern museum glass halls. Yet, whenever ocean thunder rumbles, the immortal spirit of the Norse seafarers lives on.
Subscribe to explore more lost chapters of history, and comment below which ancient world we should reconstruct next.